Travis Sheriff's Department.
Where's Ira?
Horace? What's going on out
There's a woman here. She said she's the Brady kid's mother. And I think she killed Don Robertson.
Slow down, Horace.
There's blood everywhere!
No vegetables. No dessert.
Did you see that? That was probably the goofiest thing I think I've ever seen. Horror movies have always been a staple in the film genre, and honestly, it's some of the best entertainment that's out there. You could always count on watching a horror movie and being able to point out or joke about how many dumb decisions were made or how the whole thing could have been avoided in the first place. There's always a new horror movie out, and it's always funny to pick apart some of the choices in these films. Since it's been a while since I posted my last video and it's officially Halloween now, I decided to put together a fun little video idea. Today I'm talking about horror movies that I'm pretty sure are survivable, at least in my opinion. I'm basing this off of a tier list that I put together on Twitch, link in description by the way, and I ranked them out of 10. 10 out of 10 being the easiest, 0 out of 10 being impossible. Anyways, let's start this off right, starting with Candyman. Now depending on which version of the movie you refer to, the story of Candyman is slightly different, but has the same premise. Both movies show or talk about the story of a slave who became a wealthy, famous painter who was eventually killed after it was found out that he got with a white woman. They cut off his hand, covered him in honey, and let bees sting him to death. Over time, an urban legend will form about a wrathful spirit coming straight out of the projects that had a hook for a hand and comes after anyone who says his name in a mirror 5 times. His powers are connected to bees, and the only way that he can interact with folks is if he's summoned through a mirror. Now right off the bat, this has got to be one of the easiest horror movies to survive. I literally don't understand how anyone in either one of these movies died, but then again we could chalk that up to natural selection. It's simple. Just don't say his name in the mirror 5 times and you're good. That's a 10 out of 10, no diff. Easy. Up next we have The Ring. So The Ring starts off with these 2 girls that are talking to each other about this urban legend. Legend has it that there's this weird videotape out there and anyone who watches it dies in a week. So one of the girls ends up watching it, and just like the legend says, she ends up dead a week later. To nobody's surprise, the tape has some strange and frightening imagery on it, and everybody who was dumb enough to watch it would get this unknown call that said they had 7 days left to live. At the end of those 7 days, the ghost girl that was on the footage will come out of whoever's TV and basically just put them in a pack. So yeah, once again, I will survive this one without even trying, cause once I heard that there was a tape out there that kills whoever watches it, I wouldn't have gone looking for it. Like, this is way too easy. Like, I don't understand why anybody went out of their way to investigate the tape to begin with, because honestly, if it was like in my hands, I would either throw it away or just burn it. Like, this is another one that I could say I'd survive 10 out of 10, no diff. Like, that's too easy. Anyways, the next movie I got here is The Exorcist. Okay, so The Exorcist starts off with an old priest at an archaeological dig site. The priest finds some strange looking artifact that turns out to be cursed by a demon. Fast forward, he comes back home after getting hit with a string of bad luck, and then things start picking up when it's found out that he's been cursed. Later on, this girl named Reagan has been showing signs of weird behavior and is found to be playing with a random Ouija board that she found. Some time goes by and her behavior gets worse and worse until she becomes fully possessed and does some of the wildest shit I have ever seen. Now y'all are probably wondering, how could somebody survive against this? I'm gonna tell y'all, it's really simple. Just don't play with Ouija boards. Like, how hard is it to just leave shit alone and mind your business? All it took for her was to play with a Ouija board one time and her body had the physics of a Gmod ragdoll. Like, nah, I'm good on that. Either way, this is an easy 10 out of 10, no diff. Now let's up the difficulty a bit. Now let's talk about The Terrifier. The Terrifier is a movie about Art the Clown, aka The Terrifier. Now, Art the Clown is this weird looking dude that falls in line with your stereotypical killer clown, except he's extremely brutal. Like, I can't express that enough. He's got to be one of the most out-of-pocket slashers out there if you ask me. He mostly uses melee weapons and guns, but he goes out of his way to torture his victims. So the real question is, how do you survive against him? If we're talking about the first movie, then I could say either fight him back or just up the blick and shoot his ass. The problem with him is that he can only die temporarily, so that's kind of an issue, but I'm not gonna lie, that's more than enough for me to survive the first movie. After that, I'd leave the area and never look back because I'm not sticking around for the sequels. I would say this is a 7 out of 10, but I feel pretty confident that I could win if I just shoot him. Like, that's just all you gotta do, like shoot him and leave, and I'm gonna call that an 8 out of 10. Not easy enough where it's just like, you know, you could just walk away, but like, I still say pretty easy. Up next, we have Jaws. Now, to some, I know that Jaws isn't considered to be a horror and it's more of a thriller, but I just want y'all to hear me out on this. So, for those of you who don't know, Jaws is a great white shark. And I know what some of y'all are thinking already, but just hold on just a little bit longer. In the movie, what caused so many people to get attacked wasn't them just being stupid, but it was mostly due to the fact that the mayor of the city didn't want to shut down the beach after the first few attacks. He thought that doing so would make the town's economy suffer, and basically he just was being greedy. He just said, if this ain't making dollars, it ain't making sense. Now, realistically, this will be a movie that's easy to survive. Like, all you have to do is not be in the water, but I'm not gonna lie, I like being at the beach, and the water is nice, so if I'm on the water, I'm at risk. But even still, it's not that hard. All you have to do is either punch the shark in the nose and it'll leave you alone, or flip it upside down and it'll chill out. Either way, this is an easy dub, 9 out of 10 difficulty. Next up, I have a movie here that's actually difficult but somewhat survivable as long as you could be quiet. Yes, I'm talking about A Quiet Place. Hey, don't look at me like that. Just hear me out. Now, what makes this difficult is the fact that you'd always have to be quiet in order to live, or else you'd be ripped to pieces by whatever those monsters are. This would make everyday life pretty rough, as you would need to be careful about every little thing you do, and I know what some of y'all are probably thinking. Xander, how the hell is A Quiet Place survivable? Hear me out. If you watch the movies, you know that the monsters are weak to high frequency sound. You would know that the monsters were weak to high frequency sounds, so if you have something like a dog whistle or anything else that makes those kind of sounds, you could pretty much keep them away from you for real. The only other thing that I can think of would keep you safe for real is if you blast Thick of It by KSI, because honestly, who or what is trying to hear that? They'd probably start tweaking and leave Earth immediately. Crisis averted. I'll call this a 6 out of 10 difficulty and call it a day. Up next, we got Queen of the Damned. So this movie starts off with vampires that awaken after hearing some new metal. No, I'm not joking. Go watch it. They take over that band, they become world famous, all while revealing the existence of vampires, even though people don't fully believe it. But of course, since this is a horror movie, that leads people to go to investigate it. Now, this music ends up waking up the queen of vampires, Akasha, and throughout the movie, a bunch of other vampires are fighting each other. Now, this isn't that good of a movie, but still, I gotta ask, is it survivable? No! You see, I have a problem. Akasha, the vampire queen, is a baddie, and the minute I see her, I'm folding. I would try to shoot my shot only to have my heart served up on a silver platter, but hey, at least I get to shoot my shot. This is the first and only one I'm gonna say is 0 out of 10, cause yeah, my bad. Mission Impossible. Next, the last movie I'm gonna talk about is Jeepers Creepers. So in the first movie, there's this brother and sister that go on a road trip or whatever, and they're casually driving until a guy with road rage pulls up in an old, rusty, beat-up truck and is trying to scare them off the road. The guy passes along, and for most people, this is where that encounter would end. But later on, as they're still driving, they see the guy stop somewhere on the side of the road to dispose of something that looks like a body, and he drops it down a pipe. Now, because they slowed down to watch instead of, keep driving, the dude notices that they saw and somehow gains the skills of a Fast and Furious stunt driver just to catch up and run them off the road. Once they get run off the road, instead of reporting it to the police and staying by the car, the brother gets the genius idea of, hey, let's go check out that pipe. And even the sister says this is a dumb idea, but they do it anyways. and the sister is dangling him by the feet while he's looking down the pipe and gets scared by rats, ends up falling in, and becomes marked for death right afterwards. Like, I don't care what anybody says, this is an easy 10 out of 10. All they had to do was mind their business and keep driving or wait for help. It was really that simple. Now, I'm not talking about any of the sequels, because, no, that was some bullshit. But anyways, yeah, simple. 10 out of 10, easy to survive. That's it. On that note, that's the end of the video. Thank y'all for watching. Feel free to catch me on my other socials. Check me out on Twitch, because that's where I'm primarily at. And I will catch y'all in the next video. Thank you. Peace.